Krav Maga is a comprehensive system of self-defense, third-party protection and fighting skills forged in the field, under real-life conditions, both in the battlefield and on the streets. Emerging out of the needs of a persecuted, resource-strapped minority defending itself against those bent on its destruction, Krav Maga was developed through extensive experience in the war for survival and in face-to-face confrontations. Today, Krav Maga is an integrated system incorporating clear logic, highly effective and systematic techniques, concepts and principles of action, as well as unique, advanced training methodologies. Throughout its development, the concepts laid down by Krav Maga's founder have remained constant: simplicity and efficiency, upholding the highest moral values and respect for all mankind. Grandmaster Imi Stay-Or, founder of Krav Maga, was born Imrich Lichtenfeld in Budapest, Hungary in May of 1910. He grew up in Bratislava, Slovakia, where his father, Samuel, was head of the city police department's detective unit. As part of his role, Samuel was charged with training his subordinates in defensive tactics. Under his father's influence, Imi started training at an early age and quickly emerged as an exceptionally talented athlete. As a teenager, he trained in gymnastics, wrestling and boxing. By the age of 19, he was already recognized as an international champion in these fields. Later, he focused on wrestling and competed as a member of Slovakia's national team for a decade. In 1936, fascism begins to spread throughout Europe, bringing with it a wave of violence against minorities. Entire Jewish communities find themselves defenseless, under constant attack instigated by the authorities. Imi, a young, proud Jewish athlete, is not prepared to put up with the humiliation and helplessness of the victims. Together with other young men, he organizes a group dedicated to the active defense of those targeted for attack. Under his leadership, the brave defenders successfully fight back, driving off the assailants using only their bare hands. It is under these circumstances that the seeds for an effective combat and self-defense system are planted, a system nurtured and developed by Imi a few years later into what would become known as Krav Maga. The year is 1940, and World War II is raging throughout Europe. Imi leaves Bratislava just moments before it is taken over by the Nazis, and he boards an underground immigrants boat to Palestine. After a long journey, during which he joins the Czech Legion of the British Army, Imi arrives in Palestine, which at that time was under the control of the British Mandate. He quickly becomes involved in the training and instruction of Jewish defense organizations, fighting against the Arab insurgency. With the establishment of the State of Israel, Imi naturally integrates into the newly established Israel Defense Forces. Due to his extensive experience and formidable abilities, he is nominated as the Army's chief physical fitness and hand-to-hand combat instructor. It is in this role that he begins to develop Krav Maga and to train soldiers, officers, and instructors. In 1964, after 20 years of service, Imi is honorably discharged from the military. He decides to organize his vast knowledge and practical experience into a system suitable for civilian application as well. As part of this initiative, Imi opens 2 self-defense studios, training many students and instructors, all the while adapting and improving the Krav Maga system for civilian self-defense as well as for the needs of elite military and police units. In 1974, at the age of 15, Eyal Yanilov begins to practice Krav Maga. Early on, he shows extraordinary talent, both as a practitioner of the system and as an instructor. He is quickly recruited by Grandmaster Imi to train other instructors, and he later takes Imi's place teaching higher-level classes. In the early 1980s, Eyal becomes Imi's foremost instructor and his closest disciple, as well as his most trusted assistant and advisor. After completing his studies in electrical engineering, Eyal starts training Israeli counter-terrorist units. Along with Imi, he writes a series of books laying out the principles of Krav Maga. Considering Eyal's substantial knowledge and experience, Imi decides to appoint him as head of the professional committee of the Israeli Krav Maga Association. In this position, Eyal creates and upgrades the curriculum, formalizing Krav Maga as a coherent system built around principles of action and unique instructional and training methods. In the mid-1980s, Eyal travels abroad, introducing Krav Maga to people in countries around the globe, first in the United States and then in Europe. He teaches the system to elite military and law enforcement units as well as to civilians. In order to manage the challenge of spreading Krav Maga beyond Israel's borders, Eyal founds the International Krav Maga Federation and serves as its chairman and head instructor under the tutelage and support of Grandmaster Imi. Imi regarded Eyal as family and as the natural choice for leadership of the Krav Maga system. For this purpose, Imi awarded him with the Founder's Diploma of Excellence and the first ever rank of Expert 8, the highest rank awarded to a Krav Maga practitioner. Imi Steor Lichtenfeld passed away in 1998 at the age of 88. To the day he died, Grandmaster Imi served as mentor and spiritual guide for Eyal Yanilov, and together they enhanced and developed Krav Maga. Since Imi's death, Eyal has taken upon himself the responsibility of leading and developing Krav Maga and taking it to the next level. He trains instructors and staff all over the world and has created a global infrastructure for disseminating the system. In practice, Eyal has trained all of the world's first-generation Krav Maga instructors. At present, a team of elite instructors, the global team, is assisting him in spreading the knowledge and the system of Krav Maga to numerous countries around the world. In addition to the many civilians training in Krav Maga centers, military and police special forces from around the world have also adopted Krav Maga as taught by Eyal and his team as their preferred hand-to-hand combat and tactical defense system. Over the years, the global network of Krav Maga branches has increased substantially, along with the numbers of practitioners and instructors. Different offshoots developed, all training under the umbrella name of Krav Maga. The International Krav Maga Federation, which was founded as a sports association, could barely meet the various changing needs of the times, and it became impossible neither to develop Krav Maga within the IKMF, nor to preserve the moral and professional spirit outlined by Imi. Therefore, Eyal decided, along with others, to harness his vast experience in Krav Maga, close to 40 years in the field, and founded Krav Maga Global, the KMG. KMG is the vehicle for Eyal and his team to disseminate and promote Krav Maga in an ethical, unique and uncompromising manner. Activities in various countries and close contact with those in the field enable tactical and technical growth and development suitable for each location and particular set of circumstances. Today, years after the passing of Grandmaster Imi, Krav Maga Global carefully supervises the professionalism of its instructors and the quality of instruction at all levels. Insistence on the highest moral and professional standards preserves the spirit and original path of Krav Maga's founder.
One should train mentally to deal with confrontation, to deal with violence, to deal with friction with other people, to deal with attacks. It's very clear that every physical confrontation, every physical attack, every incident which is a violent incident, you need mental resources to withstand there, to hold there, to keep on going, to overcome stress, to overcome the anxiety, to overcome all these destructive feelings. Every confrontation is also mental. By the way, not every confrontation is also physical. Whatever confrontation you are facing, the end of it is you have to be the winner. What does it mean to be the winner? Very simple. That the opponent either doesn't want or cannot continue. That's it. It doesn't mean that you punched him, it doesn't mean that you attacked him more or less. It just means that the opponent would not be able or will have no desire to still be at a risk to you, to still be dangerous to you. So in your training, and naturally if it happens in reality, remember this, that you need to continue and strive to win and finish the situation. And the desired outcome is that the attacker is unable or doesn't want to continue. Train on it.
Combining rolls and breakfalls. When do we need it? When it's either not possible to stand after one roll, or when it's too dangerous, maybe an opponent is close by or a barrier is close by and you cannot stand after a roll. Here you can see roll forward and roll backwards. The switch, the change between one roll and the other should be low. Stay on your knee. The back leg should not disturb you from sitting down. Sit down backwards and execute the backwards roll. Get up, scan the area, do what you need to do. With the back to the camera, you see the performer rolling backwards, first sitting down, and then rolling backwards here on the left shoulder. Usually, roll forward on one shoulder and backwards on the other shoulder. Example, right, forward, and left, backwards. If your initial roll starts from about 30 kilometers per hour, 20 miles per hour, you cannot stand usually after one roll. You'll have to do another roll or do something different. Roll forward and break fall backwards. As in the combination of two rolls, here also, from standing low on your knee, you turn to the direction you came from and execute a break fall backwards. Continue. Here we simulate dealing with an opponent. So we kick while on our back, get up while kicking, and finish the situation as needed. The switch between the roll and the break fall, or the roll and the back roll, is being done in sort of a squat. Here we show another combination of rolling forward and then break fall forward, a soft break fall. Example, after a roll forward, you slipped and slid, and now you are falling and need to stop yourself, example, with a soft break fall downwards. After the break fall, imagine that there is an opponent. You have to deal with him. So turn on your back. In turning, insert one knee and turn to the other side. Kick as many times as you need, get up, and finish the situation. Defending regular kicks to the front. The kick is directed towards the groin, the lower abdomen area. Stabbing defense with simultaneous counter-attacking. The backhand is defending with sort of a strike downwards to the side of the attacking shin. Move diagonally forward and counterattack as soon as possible with the front hand. If the front hand cannot reach with the strike, grab with it and counterattack, strike with the backhand. The stabbing defense is done while punching close to your own knee, meeting and deflecting the attacking shin in an acute angle, more or less in the middle of the attacking shin. Your elbow should be relatively close to your body. Your chest is directed downwards and forward as you move diagonally forward to enable a better body defense. This hand defense is efficient whether the attacker is kicking with the right or with the left leg. Your body defense is taking you away from the channel of the attack, bringing you to about 45 degrees in relation to the attacker. Here we can see the efficiency of the body defense as well as the hand defense. The stab with its acute angle is deflecting the kick with the minimum impact to the forearm. The hand defense and the body defense, naturally it's a hand, body and step, sort of a sequence. However, everything is done together simultaneously with a counterattack too. The punch is sent to the vicinity of your front knee, more or less. You have to crouch and bend the upper body in order to enable an efficient hand defense. Defending a kick to the groin or to the abdomen area using an inside forearm defense with a low fist and high elbow. Start from a passive stance, hands down, but in an angle towards the opponent. Sending a low fist, turning the forearm, bringing the other hand across to the opposite cheek. Inside defense with the forearm, a strong one, while moving diagonally forward with your body. Here we definitely need to emphasize the body defense. Strike the side of the attacker's shin between the middle of the shin and the ankle. In a fluent action, sort of a sweeping motion a bit, bring your elbow high and initially strike with a counterattack that is a hammer sideways. Continue with more counterattacks in a fluent manner. Stepping diagonally forward with the left and closing with the right, bring you away from the channel of the attack. Looking from behind the defender, you can definitely see how big the body defense is and how the hand defense turns into a counterattack in a very fluent manner. Forearm defense against a high roundhouse kick. With the tradition of the 360, we are defending and counterattacking simultaneously. You defend with a clenched fist, diagonal forearm, and the outside fleshy part. Simultaneously, shift your weight forward and kick with the back leg. Relatively an aggressive technique. Here in the dry drill, we see the hand defense, shifting a bit weight forward, and the simultaneous kick towards the groin. Forearm defense and a step sideways against the high roundhouse kick. Here we add the body defense. So simultaneously, you step diagonally forward with the remote leg while executing the forearm defense. So you've got here a hand defense and a body defense. Hand defense the same as before, clenched fist, slanted forearm, and defending with the fleshy outside part. The first counterattack can be a regular kick to the groin directed from your base leg to the target, or a side kick to the knee of the opponent. Continue as needed. The starting sequence of the motions, although done simultaneously, are hand, body, and step. Here in the dry drill, we see the hand defense, the body motion, the step, and the counterattack. The step must be abrupt to be able to lift the kicking leg as soon as possible. Two forearm defense with the fleshy part against a high roundhouse kick. Send two forearms, fleshy part the palm side towards the attack, meet the shin relatively close to the knee. The body defense is composed of a body turn, strong spin on the balls of the feet, then step diagonally forward to enable the strong counterattacks at the appropriate range. Continue with more counterattacks as needed. Here's the dry drill, the hands, the body twist, moving diagonally forward and initially countering with a hammer strike. Continue with more counterattacks and then remove yourself from the danger zone or go to the next mission. a variation on the two forearm defenses. The hand defenses are with the slanted forearms, one hand with the clenched fist, fleshy outside part of the forearm, the other hand with open palm, fleshy part of the inside of the forearm. Here there's less of a need for a strong twist with the body. However, move diagonally forward, and the first counterattack as before should be with a hammer strike, horizontally sideways. Continue with more attacks and finish the situation as needed. Here in the dry drill, the two forearm defenses, moving diagonally forward and countering. When the defender is standing in a non-symmetrical stance and the attacker is coming with a kick from your backside, here the demonstration is right side, all the techniques are practically the same. However, the differences is moving more towards the live side. The first technique, forearm defense with the back hand and kicking with the back leg, principle like the 360, simultaneously defending and kicking. Here's the dry drill. Forearm defense, slanted, fleshy part, clenched fist, with simultaneous kick with the back leg. Again, the kick towards the live side, defending with the clenched fist, moving diagonally forward and kicking with the back leg. The moment you step with one leg, you have the weight on it, so kick with the back leg. The dry drill emphasizes the sequences of motions. Attacker is kicking with the left leg towards your live side. Two forearm defenses with the fleshy part, diagonally forward, palms towards the kick, chest aligned towards the shin, towards the knee of the opponent, move diagonally forward and counterattack. First with a hammer strike. Dry drill is emphasizing the hand and body defenses. The variation of the two-hand defenses, clenched fist and palm towards the attack. It's a combination of the first and the third techniques. Defending a low bear hug from the front. If possible, naturally you should prevent the attacker from grabbing you. Here, as we learned before, we use a forearm defense to stop the attacker at the area of his clavicle, neck, and trapeze muscle. At the same time, moving diagonally backwards or sideways. The backhand should start attacking towards the eyes and then use more counterattacks as needed. This naturally belongs to the prevention and avoidance techniques. Against a low bear hug from the front, the attacker already managed to grab you. Lean forward to stabilize yourself and send the back leg to resist the opponent push. As soon as possible, strike with the elbow downwards towards the opponent's head or neck. Striking downwards should be vertical to the target. As you stabilize yourself and push the opponent down, continue to strike as needed. You can continue an attack to other vulnerable places, such as the eyes, the lower ribs and the kidneys. Especially if the attacker is continuing to push, you can turn, avoid the frontal pressure while striking towards the opponent's lower ribs, kidneys, and sometimes you can even kick to the groin, especially with the shin. The attacker managed to grab you with a low bear hug. His main intention is to lift you and probably to throw you on the ground. The bear hug itself may not be dangerous, but hitting the ground may cause a devastating harm. As soon as possible, and as usually, you should bend forward a bit. At the same time, wrap one leg around the opponent's leg. This will prevent him from straightening his leg and will cause difficulty for him to lift you. With the other leg, you should kick as soon as possible a heel kick to the groin area. We call this uppercut kick. The heel is directed to hit the groin of the opponent. To facilitate this, you need to have your knee relatively forward. In this incident, we see that the arms are caught. So while bending forward, you should as soon as possible take at least one hand out from the grab and strike backwards horizontally towards the opponent's head. Bending forward will create a good range for your elbow to hit the opponent's head. A relatively low bear hug from the front enables the opponent to lift you. Again, the situation is very dangerous, as throwing you to the ground may cause great harm for you. To make it more difficult for the opponent to lift you, wrap one leg around the opponent's leg. This will prevent him from strengthening his knees, and thus preventing him from lifting you. With the other leg, hit a knee kick to the groin area of the opponent. This will be feasible mainly if the opponent has not strengthened his knees yet. If your arms are caught, as soon as possible, take one arm out while leaning sideways. Continue with strong strikes to the opponent's head. If the attacker caught you while your arms are free, as you work with your legs, you should also work with your hands, meaning as soon as possible strike or push thumbs strongly into the opponent's eyes. When the opponent lets go, always be ready to balance yourself, to base yourself, so there will not be a situation that you fall directly to the ground. Land on your legs. When the attacker is approaching you, sending his hand towards you, defend and counterattack as needed, as you see fit. Remember, you can't really know what the attacker wants, to grab you, to punch you, to hit you in the eyes. So prevent him from grabbing you. You can defend and move away. You can defend and counterattack with strikes and kicks. You can even make some sort of threats with punches in the air. Release from a hair grab from the front with a leverage on the wrist. Most suitable at the early phase of the grab before there's a pull and where there's not much other dangers. With two palms, strike on the opponent's back of the hand. Firmly press the opponent's hand towards your head. Bend your head and tuck your chin, press it against your chest. Bend the whole body forward. When the body is more or less horizontal, start stepping backwards with small steps. This will bring the opponent down on his stomach. While creating the leverage, your elbows should be low. Your forearms, arms, and elbows are protecting your head from the different directions. To enable a strong lock on the wrist of the opponent, emphasize pressing his heel of the hand to your forehead or head, your chin to your chest, and body goes down. When you are stepping backwards, you're dragging the opponent forward and flattening him on his stomach. Defending a hair pull from the front. Here it is a dangerous situation. The opponent grabbed your hair, he's pulling you down towards his knee or towards a punch. Except being pulled, initiate and advance forward. At the same time, with one forearm, block the opponent's knee or other attack, and first counterattack to the groin. Continue with other counterattacks, especially high, towards the head. Your forearm defense should be with the area a bit closer towards your elbow. Your forearm defense should be middle of the thigh of the opponent, maybe closer to his knee, not towards his thigh. The attacker may be pulling you with one hand or with two. Does not matter. You should do the same technique. When you are low, it's very comfortable to attack to the groin with an open hand, sort of a whip attack, under the forearm of your other hand. From attacking low, switch to attacking high. It will be most efficient. Remember that this technique includes bursting forward towards the attacker. Take the initiative from him. Bursting forward will disrupt the attacker's attack. However, you should try and identify as much as possible which attack he is doing. If the attacker is striking, defend his strike and counterattack. Do it all as efficient as you can. Defending a hair pull from the side, you could not prevent the attacker from grabbing your hair from the side. He's pulling you towards the ground or towards his body. It is a dangerous situation as the attacker is also attacking with the knee. Burst forward towards the attacker. You can do it with a closed leg or with the far leg. All depends on the timing and the way that you have been pulled and naturally on your balance. Initiate also an advance towards the attacker, burst towards him. One hand should be blocking the attack, whatever attack it is, and the other hand should be striking. Because you are low, you have been pulled down, strike first towards the groin. Continue with more counterattacks as needed, and then finish the situation. Defending a hair pull from the rear. The attacker is grabbing and pulling your hair from behind. It is a dangerous situation. The attacker also has the intention of either dropping you to the ground or striking you. Turn as early as you can and burst as fast as you can towards the opponent. Try to eliminate his initial attack, his initial intention. With one forearm, you either block a knee or a strike that the opponent is sending towards you, and with the other hand, start striking towards the most vulnerable and closest points. Bursting towards the opponent takes the initiative from him. Bursting forward means also definitely a kind of a body defense. Blocking a knee kick should be done with the area closer to your elbow. This would prevent the forearm defense from collapsing. As you have been pulled and you are low, usually the first reasonable counterattack should be to the groin. After that, punch high. And when you are erect, naturally you can strike with different strikes and with more kicks. Do as many counterattacks as you need, and then finish the situation by scanning, moving away from danger zone, assisting others, etc. Attacker is sitting on you, his body is very low, and is choking you. Release with one hand, grab and turn the opponent's head with the other, bridge, turn on the opponent, counterattack, and then move away from the danger zone. With one hand, the one that is closer to your head, away from the opponent's head, is the one that is making the release. Release with 5 fingers, sort of a hooking, plucking, striking motion to remove at least one hand from your neck. Wrap the other hand and the arm around the opponent's head at the level of the temple. Press his head to your shoulder. If he has hair, pull it. Pull and turn the opponent's head, bridge at the same time towards your shoulder, and then on the opponent's head. The bridge enables a much better choke release and turning of the head of the opponent. Turn and come to a position that the attacker is under you. Strike to the eyes, bite, or punch the opponent as soon as you can. Raise up, punch more, and then get out from the danger zone. Getting out can be pushing the knees, retreating, kicking to the groin, and moving away from danger zone. Another way, if you have a high knee, grab behind the attacker's Achilles tendon, throw it over your head, get up from behind the opponent, strike as needed, and finish the situation. Release from a choke on the ground while the attacker is high with straight elbows. In order to apply a lot of pressure, as well as to avoid the attempts of the defender to scratch his face, the attacker is choking with straight elbows and high head. In fluent and combined motions, strike at the opponent's elbows and bridge with your pelvis upwards and to the side. Like this, you are throwing the opponent off you, sending him diagonally upwards, and enabling yourself to climb over and to counterattack as soon as possible. Striking at the elbows of the opponent should be with palms up. The strike is naturally vertical, hitting the elbows and sending them over your head. Keep contact with the elbows and try to cross the opponent's hands as soon as possible. Prevent the attacker from having a base. He should fall on his side or on his back. Climb on the attacker and as soon as possible, counterattack. Strike vulnerable areas and then get away from the danger zone. Attacker is sitting on you, trying to hit you with different strikes. Use the appropriate inside and outside hand defenses. To deflect or to block, the opponent's strikes. At the same time, use body defenses to avoid and evade the strikes. Simultaneously, grab the opponent's hands and do a bridge to throw him off you. While defending, throwing, and bridging, you should try to strike the opponent as soon as you can to the most vulnerable areas. You throw the opponent diagonally upwards. As the opponent hits the ground, climb on him as soon as you can with more counterattacks. Get away from the danger zone in the usual and appropriate manners. In a lying position on the ground, dealing with a striking opponent. Try to prevent the assailant from reaching you. If you didn't manage, naturally you should do hand defense, body defense, immediate counterattacking, and then the finishing mode. With the appropriate hand defense, inside or outside defenses, deflect or block the strike which is sent towards you. As soon as possible, move your body to the opposite side. Here we see outside hand defense and moving the body away from the opponent. Bring your legs towards you, your knees towards your chest, and continue with immediate counterattacks towards vulnerable places in the opponent's body. Continue with getting up from the ground, with counterattacks as needed, and then do the finishing mode, such as moving away from danger zone. One should use inside or outside defenses that will serve as an appropriate hand defenses. If you manage to respond rather late and you couldn't move the body, you should defend and strike the bending opponent, naturally using a dynamic defense. Move your head out of the line of the strike. Continue with the appropriate counterattacks, usually with kicks. Finish by getting up with more counterattacks and moving away from the danger zone or going to the next mission you need to do. Defending a knife threat from the front at close range. The active defense, the hand defense, the body defense, the dynamic defense, control, counterattack, and the finishing mode, either disarming and or moving away from the danger zone. Deflect at the wrist. Deflecting should be done the thumb down, the fingers up. Deflect horizontally, sideways with the palm. Grab the wrist of the opponent. Straighten your elbow and lower a bit the hand holding the weapon. Move in as soon as you can and counterattack strongly. Get out of the channel of the attack. Go to the side of the opponent, approximately 45 degrees from the side. Continue with double control. With a striking hand, grab the opponent's fist. Continue to counterattack, and then the finishing mode. Either you push the weapon away and the opponent away from you and move away, or disarm the weapon. The counterattack should be delivered as soon as possible, meaning the moment you are at the correct range, you should have already hit the opponent. Measure your advance so more or less the front foot will be in the line of the opponent's front leg or with the line of his body. Disarming is done in the following process. Either with your strikes, the opponent has moved backwards, or you move away a bit, enabling yourself to straighten both elbows after grabbing the fist of the opponent. So you grab the weapon and the forearm holding it with two arms. Move and turn the knife to the other side and bend strongly the wrist of the opponent. Then relax the grip of the fist, insert your fingers into the grip and scrape the knife away, sending the blade to the outside, not towards yourself. Continue as needed with more counterattacks. Move away from danger zone. Remember that the knife that you got should not be used unless your life is still being threatened. Try to hide it when you move away. There are high chances that because of your counterattacks, the attacker will drop the knife before you manage to grab his hand. Here we see a couple of variations when the attacker grabbed the defender and put a knife to his throat. Knife is at the inside of the throat. Do the basic technique. Here too, we move the knife away from the throat and the throat away from the knife. Counterattack as soon as possible. Use the double control, meaning two hands are grabbing the hand holding the weapon. Continue to counterattack with knees, and as needed, disarm the opponent or push him away and move away from danger zone. Remember, the deflection of the knife threat is turned very quickly into a strong grip. Your palm, not your thumb, your palm is pushing the threat away from your throat. If the knife is at the other side, the attacker grabbed your clothing and put the knife to the outside of your throat. Here you must use an inside deflection motion with the other hand. In this case, using the right hand to deflect and grab the hand holding the weapon, counterattack as usual with the backhand, continue as soon as possible while driving diagonally forward with counterattacks, use the double control, continue with more counterattacks, push away and move away, or disarm the opponent in the usual manner, meaning bending the wrist and then inserting the fingers into the grab and scraping the knife away from the opponent, always the blade towards the outside, not towards your body. From a disadvantage, and with limited resources for sensing the opponent, you should be defending, releasing yourself from different grabs. The attacker is circling around you, performs from time to time whatever grabs he wishes to do. Your job is to defend and counter. Release yourself as soon as you can. When you just start sensing the problem, start supplying the solution. Release, counterattack. You started with eyes closed. The moment you feel something, open your eyes while starting to act. You should develop a sense of where the attacker is, what the attacker is doing as soon as possible. When you reach a higher level of performance, you'll be able to sense the attacker at a very early phase of his attack. The attacker is circling around you. He strikes from time to time. Attacker can do a punch, a kick, a set of strikes and kicks. Your job, when you see the problem, when you see the attack, deal with it. Try to deal with it in the most profound, technical, and exact way. Try to give exact solution for specific problems. Try to identify the problem and give it the best solution you can. Your eyes are open. The attacker performs his attack. Deal with it. Perform the best hand defense, body defense, active and dynamic defenses, the earliest counterattack, hand defense, body defense, leg defense, movement correctly, getting out of the channel and the area of the danger. Do all you have learned. Try to do the most technically correct solution. Then you can move to the next level in which your eyes are closed. Here the attacker is doing few attacks. The first attack just wakes you up. The second, do not get. The first and second attacks can be identical at the early phase. At the next level, one attack just wakes you up, the other attack is not identical, and you have to deal with the other attack. Naturally, the attacker can touch you from one side and punch you from another side. Attacker can make it difficult for you. For instance, kick you lightly with one leg and punch you with the other hand. Strike from one direction and kick from another direction. The whole idea is exercising solutions against unknown and surprising attacks. In the subject of returning attacker, we should always practice from different situations, directions, techniques, that the attacker has not been neutralized, didn't stop his attacks, the distance has been increased, but then the attacker is coming back. Here we see the attacker starts with a kick to the groin. Your defense and counterattacks definitely made some change in the situation. You managed to hit the attacker, but after a short time, split of a second, the attacker returns, closes the gap again. This time we demonstrate an attacker who comes with a straight punch. Deal with it, defend, counterattack, and continue as needed. The defender failed to de-escalate the situation, attacker attacked, The defender responded with an inside forearm defense and counterattacks. Attacker who got hit did not stop his actions, managed to take a knife and started attacking with it. If you perceive the problem at a longer range, you should not let the attacker get close to you. So a set of strong kicks will neutralize the attacker at a larger distance. However, if the attacker managed to close the gap without the defender stopping him or preventing him, naturally the defender will need to do hand defenses, the appropriate counterattacks, changing position, changing distance, and do all that is needed in order to neutralize the threat and prevent the attacker from continuing. Appropriate counterattacks will definitely do the job. And then, as soon as possible, go to your next mission. Defending a third party against attacks towards him or her. The basic thinking is attack the attacker. When the attacker is striking, grabbing, trying to push, to hurt, your job will be to prevent the attacker from continuing. Attack the attacker from where you are as soon as possible, as early as possible, with the relevant counterattacks, and then move yourself and the third party away from the danger zone. If it is easy and the attack is relatively close to you, passing near your body, you may have a chance to block, to stop, or to deflect the attack which is directed towards the third party. If you can do so, excellent. Continue with multiple counterattacks and then distance the attacker from you and from the third party and remove yourselves from the area. Your friend or member of family has been grabbed. The most important thing usually is to attack the attacker. If you have got the possibility to disturb the attack, to release the victim, to release your friend, to release the third party, excellent. But at the same time, definitely, you should be attacking the attacker. By doing so, you'll be able to prevent the attacker from causing more damage, either to the third party or to you. Practice doing so at different angles, directions, and distances. The attacker is striking third party and you're reaching from behind. In the most simple manner, you can just strike the attacker, especially his back of the head or back of the neck, and then separate, disconnect the attacker and his victim. Do so by pushing the attacker from behind backwards, especially by using pressure on his eyes. Send the attacker backwards, continue with counterattacks as needed, and then assist your friend, your member of family, to move away from the danger zone. Try to support your friend as initially you do not know what damage has been made to him. Counterattacks to the back of the head will be better done with the open hand or with the elbow. You reach behind an opponent who is threatening the third party. The situation is not so dangerous, so you may choose just to separate, to send the opponent backwards and down, and not to strike the opponent. At the same time, pull both of the opponent's shoulders and stomp with your back leg to the knee crook, to the knee pit of the opponent, to the back of his knee. In a double action, sort of a push-pull, kick-pull shoulders, you take the opponent off his balance, pull him backwards, turn him and send him towards the ground, face towards the ground. To be able to pull the opponent efficiently backwards, your front leg should be more or less at the line of the opponent's body. As you pull him backwards, your center of gravity is pulling both of you backwards. As you kick behind his knee, you pull both of his shoulders. Then, like using a car wheel, turn the whole body of the opponent sideways and backwards until he's face down. Press the opponent down, as needed, talk to him, and then move away from the danger zone. It is also efficient to pull the opponents backwards by pressure on the eyes. This can be with or without a kick to the back of the knee. Pull the opponent backwards, turn him towards the ground, press him downwards to the ground so it will be difficult for the opponent to move. As this is a sort of a softer solution, we initially do not have the intention to strike strongly the opponent. But if it's needed, first you can strike and then take the opponent backwards and down. A frontal evacuation of a friend after an incident. After screening your friend, protecting him, and dealing with the opponent, return to him or to her. You are face to face now. Order, touch, and move your friend. The verbal command is aimed to awaken and instruct your friend. The touch, the initial contact, is an awakening action. Moving your friend to the right direction, away from the danger, is practically what you're doing. Approach your friend with your front hand, you pull his upper arm. With your back hand, you push the shoulder, the upper chest area. This will turn your partner and send him backwards a little bit. Switch hands, and the hand that went to pull the upper arm will grab the trapeze muscles with the thumb on the spine area of the neck. The other hand will grab his upper arm, the one that was pulled initially. Like this, you're pushing your friend from the danger zone. Your body is partly protecting his. A pull-push action is turning the partner. This is, however, being done while you move forward. The partner loses his balance a bit, but with the turning and the little push, the partner starts moving, and now, of course, moving forward as he's been turned. With the fast action of turning, as if your left hand, your front hand, is delivering the upper arm of the partner to your right, to your backhand. Your right hand, your backhand, is grabbing and pushing the partner at the middle of the upper arm. Leading the partner away is being done with two hands, controlling the partner, assisting the partner. Naturally, if there's a need, you can move and grab the partner at the lower area, on the belt, for instance, to assist the partner to carry himself or herself. If not much of control is needed, naturally you can just hold the partner with the hand while moving away together. Four against one with different missions for different attackers. Here we start with knife attacks overhead. One attacker is using circular knife attacks from above. The second attacker goes to grab, to choke. The third attacker, again with the knife, using circular attacks from below. All the first three attackers were attacking one attack every 2 seconds. The fourth attacker is attacking 2 straight punches and then pauses for 2 seconds. Defender should do inside defenses, outside defenses, body motions, moving, preemptive attacks, counter attacks, whatever is necessary, but to keep himself still in the game. It is a game. And this is an example of a drill. Naturally, one should train on dealing with different problems done by different attackers. Slow fighting with a partner. Try to be with your defenses and counterattacks slower than the attacks of the partner. So try to defend in a slower defense compared to your partner. Like this, you are gaining control, especially over yourself. Light fighting with minimal of protective gear. Here there are groin protections, mouthpiece, sometimes shin guards, sometimes light gloves. The idea is to do light fighting. Be careful not to hit your partner strongly, not to kick your partner strongly, not to make strong impact with any type of target. During the light fighting, you should create light contact. You should use all your tools, all your weapons. Try to practice the different tactics. Vary with different techniques. Aim to different types of targets. Be in a mental state of a fighter. Do not give up, do not stop. If there's a problem or hurdle, climb on it, deal with it, solve it. We are bringing here a simulation of 2 against 2. 2 attackers against you and your friend. According to the timeline and other variables, you will execute different techniques, maneuvers, and tactics. If you detect the attackers at the early stage, you may have the possibility to talk to them and move away from the danger zone. Take your friend with you. As you detect the problem, screen, differentiate between your friend and the attackers, and deal with the problems as they come. Here we demonstrate defending and counterattacking against first attacker and then dealing with the second one, and by evacuating yourself and your friend from the area. The 2 attackers attacked, one kept you busy while the other one was attacking your friend. As soon as possible, after you manage to free yourself, defend yourself, and deal with the first attacker, go and rescue your friend. Demonstrating here, releasing of the friend from a choke while counter-attacking against the second attacker, and then evacuating yourself and your friend from the area.
From the mid to the late 30s, in Bratislava, Slovakia, Imi and his friends, on a daily basis, had fights. Fights against the fascist thugs. The worst case was 17 against few thousands, who were blocking the way of the mob to go to the Jewish quarters. At that time, Imi was definitely a fighter. And the essence of being a fighter is you never give up, you always solve the problem. He said sometimes there was no possibility to give a person 2 punches. You had to function very fast, to operate very quickly and rapidly in order to solve the problem, in order to make the defense, to make the counterattack, and then continue quickly to the next problem, to deal with the next opponent. Being a fighter doesn't mean to search for problems. Being a fighter means solve the problems if they are there. Definitely try not to fight. Try to control the situation. If you cannot, then you have to do your maximum. And the fighter, if he gets hurt, he will continue. He will not pay attention to damages. He will not pay attention to problems on himself. He will solve the problems that he is facing.
Low abdominal breathing. Here, the diaphragm is pushing the abdominal area, the stomach, down. So the stomach, the muscles, goes out. Here you can see the stomach area becomes bigger. Central breathing, ribs breathing. Here, the volume of the lungs is being enlarged by the ribs coming up and out. High breathing, or chest breathing, or clavicle breathing. Here, the chest is coming up, enlarging the volume of the lungs by lifting the chest. Full breath or full breathing. Start with abdominal breathing, go to the middle breathing with the rib cage, and then go to the breathing with the chest. Sort of a wave action. Stop your breathing for a few seconds and then start exhaling. You can start exhaling from the abdominal area, then the ribs go down, then the chest goes down. Exhale most of the air in the lungs. Do this continuously for a few minutes. This way of breathing is very relaxing, calming the mind. This way of breathing is good in reducing stress. Standing concentration drill. Here the aim is stand, focus, and do not move. stand straight, relax your body, straighten the spine, lengthen the spine, breathe in a relaxed manner, distance your arms a bit away from your body. Look forward at one point, concentrate there. Try to avoid any motions. Eliminate any movement. Relax the facial muscles. Focus on the point you are looking at. Pay attention to your breathing. Try to minimize talking to yourself, this internal gossip. This is a simple control technique, controlling yourself, so eventually you'll be able to control the fight and the confrontation. When your mind and emotions, especially destructive emotions, are controlled, you are able to function much, much better during a confrontation, as you can sense the intentions and the actions of the opponent and opponents. As a beginner, you can start with 5 minutes. As you advance, you can spend more time in this sort of standing mind control. Up to 20 minutes, it is reasonable. Concentration drill, performing a simple Krav Maga technique. The moving of the body, the moving of the arm, sending the forearm and the elbow towards the defense, sending the shoulder towards the defense, sending the chest forward, the counterattack forward towards the imaginary opponent. A simple drill like this, from start to finish, can take at the beginning level around 5 minutes. During the time of the drill, one should concentrate. Focus on your action, focus on your body, then shift the focus to an outside target, and then focus on nothing in particular. In the higher level, one can spend about 20 minutes in one drill like this. The example here is an outside defense with a simultaneous counterattack. One can use other very simple drills such as inside defense and a simultaneous counterattack against a straight punch, a defense against a straight knife attack, a defense against a kick, etc. As you do the technique, focus on the components of the technique. Understand the motions. Understand the body shifting, the weight moving. Doing so, try to minimize the internal dialogue, try to relax your mind, try to internalize all the senses. Dealing with two people who grabbed your hands. You could not prevent two opponents from grabbing your wrists, grabbing your hands. Use previously learned techniques to release yourself from these grabs. If it is not a dangerous situation, in most times you are able to use softer techniques. Release one hand after the other and then move away from the danger zone. Two attackers grab your hands from both sides. You feel that this is a dangerous situation. Strike. As you are limited with your arms, strike with other parts of your body. Use knee kicks, regular kicks, headbutts, whatever is needed to hit sensitive areas of the opponents. The moment you manage to lower the risk, to eliminate one of the grabs, then you can continue with more counterattacks or a release against the grab which has been remained. Finish by moving away from the danger zone. Here there are three opponents. We do not see the third one, but he's coming from the front, from the area of the camera, or from any other direction, in fact. If that opponent is more dangerous, definitely you should kick this third person, and then continue with counterattacks towards the other two. Here we see a regular kick towards the first opponent, which is not seen here, and then attacks with either both legs or with one leg to the other two opponents. Against a full Nelson grab, the preventive measures. The moment you feel the opponent inserting his arms, bend forward and tighten your arms to your sides. With the diagonal palm, grab 1 or 2 fingers of the opponent. Make the lock and strike with the elbow. After the first strike, continue with striking as needed, circle and step to the outside and get away from the grab. Release from a full handstand grab, scraping the fingers. The attacker managed to grab you. Start by hitting backwards with your palms. If you hit his eyes, it will be definitely an advantage. Cross your hands over the opponent's palms. Partly overlap your own fingers. Feel the opponent's grip, dig for a finger or two, make a lock and pull the palm away. Bend forward to enable a first strike with the elbow towards the opponent's head. Continue with more counterattacks, circle away from the grab and finish the situation.